There. See red light and boom, just like that. 2 days in a row. This is pretty awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm a little raspy this morning, a little dry throat going on there. I don't know what's going on with that. But it is a new day to really make your mark, a new day to get your mission out there. And what better way to kick it off for Tuesday other than Triumph Tuesday with
TwoSistas, and good morning, everyone. My name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva, Triumph Tuesday, and we also have reached a very awesome kind of mark in our podcast history and sharing what we are passionate about. And when we've said this a couple times, our original intent on starting the podcast was to share obviously what we're passionate about: wellness, health, tips, tricks, mindset, different things that are out there to help you achieve those, to get to your goals. We've chatted so much so that today we are celebrating our 150th episode. Woo-hoo!
I forgot the horns. I was going to have a horn. Yeah, I was not organized in that. But first off, I forgot to even introduce myself. This is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Boss, Lady Canna. And you know what's exciting about a milestone, and I think we all relate to a milestone, right? Whether that milestone may be part of your weight journey, maybe it's a milestone with age, an accomplishment, a goal that you checked off, so now you can go to the next goal. There's something to say about milestones because sometimes you never have the opportunity to revisit that. In other words, most milestones are you hit them and it's a stepping stone for the next milestone. So you don't go backwards. Now, some might think, oh, you know, with health and wellness, you know, you kind of have that up and down. So your milestones go up, they go down, you drop a few steps. That is normal. That's part of the journey. But when I think of the word milestone, it's one of those things where you check it off and you can never revisit it. Or if it's a type of milestone where you could, it's not going to have the same, it'll have a different meaning the second time, or it will feel differently the second time. How many times do you go on that dream vacation? Let's say you've never done a cruise, right? And a lot of us are not really cruising these days, but hear me out. You've planned, you've worked hard, you've saved up that money, and that first experience was just everything and anything you could have imagined. And then, you know, maybe a few years later, you go on another cruise and you have a great time, but something quite isn't the same. It was that first, you know, the milestones of you saving to go there, the preparation, the planning, maybe picking out the excursions. If it was a theme kind of thing with the family, you're going to have matching t-shirts, like all these different things. So I love that milestones are stepping stones to the ultimate milestone, which should be in your vision long-term, should be like so far that you know you have to get other milestones to get there. And when you reach the milestones of the stepping stones of the final milestone, embrace them, cherish them. Remember what it felt like, journal about it, write a note about it, because you may never pass that way again. That's the cool thing about milestones. And she's on mute, I think.
I started to say something like, wait a minute, I had a glare coming at me and I couldn't see the controls. The controller couldn't see the controls. Milestones are so very important, and as maybe as or as Triumph Tuesday, for a lot of people, just the sound of hearing those two words together when we were first coming up with themes was like, well, I'm not sure, but it really, for us, Triumph Tuesday, it's the meaning behind it. Although Triumph Tuesday doesn't have a lot of, I think sometimes enthusiasm when you say that, but think of the sparkle around it. Think of those milestones, think of those goals, think of those stepping stones. And the more that I say Triumph Tuesday, the more that I love it, because it signifies, for some people, it signifies what they thought that they could not achieve. They set themselves a little goal and they achieved it.
Right,
Bam.
and we've often really talked about, what are you triumphing over? Oh, I actually saw someone's live yesterday, a woman that I admire tremendously. Shout out to Cindy McKnight. And I met her through another networking company. And she just has a sparkle about her. She just has this vibe about her. She's so enthusiastic all the time. And she's taken a big pivot in her networking, or I should say her networking in her pivot of her vision of where she's going at this point. And it was, I would say a setback in the sense of, where she was at that moment. But she literally just kind of dusted off the shoes, took some time for herself, which was much needed. And she triumphed over looking over her shoulder or looking from behind. And now she's so focused on the forward. And I think a lot of times now, is that this huge thing? Well, for her, it is. Will someone say, is that really a triumph? It surely is. So when we triumph over something, it could be something physical, it could be emotional, it could be something as simple as the fear of going outdoors. There are some people during this time frame of the virus that truly have a fear of they don't even want to go outside of their own four walls. And we'll always talk about how, sunshine is good for you with this, vitamin D, fresh air. But so think of that person that's almost imprisoned in their own home because they have that fear. And today was the first day that maybe yesterday they opened up the door, and maybe this morning they actually stepped out. It's very simple to somebody else, but it's a huge triumph knowing that I'm breaking free. I'm breaking free of those chains. I'm not doing it all at once, but I'm taking the steps, the milestones to get me to do that. So I think when we think of a triumph, yes, there's some monumental triumphs that people have. And I think a lot of that's going on in our country right now. There's a lot of triumphs that are going on with people that are opening their hearts, or opening their brains, or opening their minds to see really what's going around in their own community, in their own state, in their own country. That is a huge triumph for many, because a lot of people have been kind of, I don't want to say hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil kind of thing. But when you wrap your head around of what's going on currently in our country, that is a lot to digest. Those are little milestones that people, maybe somebody who really didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden now they're like, there's a lot of strange things going on. They're taking little milestones to ultimately get to that little triumph, but it's a big triumph for them. So don't put so much emphasis on what, I can only triumph over something if it's this big, huge thing. Like, if I lost 100 pounds, or if I decide to go, today was the day I was going to go to the gym and I went to the gym. That's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. If you decided that you were going to make a change in your life, whether it was to step outdoors, whether it was to get on the scale, whether it was to go for that walk, whether it was to turn off the news, whether it was to eliminate people that don't add value or impact your life in a positive way, those are all things that you've triumphed over because it took courage to take the first step.
Absolutely. And as you were talking about that, we've often talked about things that maybe spark a distress in our lives, whether that is stress itself, or for me, it's, I do listen to different news outlets, and usually when I hear Chris Cuomo's voice, I cringe, but I do watch him. Yeah, everybody knows I'm not crazy about the guy. So I triumphed over not turning on CNN yesterday. I just couldn't watch him yesterday. But that is my little thing. And a lot of people have said to me, well, why would you even waste your time or waste your breath about, number one, about watching somebody or a network that you don't care for? For me, it's about perspective. I want to hear what everybody else is saying and how their perspective is. Obviously, they have an agenda, right? They have to follow a certain agenda. I want to hear what everybody else is saying, and that's why I, listen to different news organizations. But for somebody who is really struggling during this pandemic and, excuse me, for instance, has, likes to go out and walk, and it's been so bitterly cold, and maybe they don't have certain things at home that they can do different things, but yet they've been listening to us, and maybe they grabbed out 2 cans of soup. And all right, okay, I have a staircase, I'm going to use that as my weight to go up and down the stairs. I'm going to use that to do some upper body work. I mean, that is a triumph. So how insignificant my triumph may seem to somebody else, and that's perfectly okay. Think about the person out there who's struggling during this pandemic just to stay calm, just to keep their wits about themselves, just to keep themselves informed, yet feel that their emotions or their stress levels are immediately heightened when they hear all this gobbledygook on the TV. So that's what the importance behind Triumph Tuesday is those little biomarkers that help us to get from, point A to point B. I just want to segue back to weight loss for a moment, because it brings up a really good conversation I had with one of my clients who's lost a tremendous amount of weight. And I love learning from other people about weight loss. Even though, I've been in the business about 15 years now, it really is refreshing to hear from somebody else's perspective. And I'm sure that maybe you've heard this, Carroll-Sue, that, excuse me, when going on a different journey, especially where it concerns your overall wellness, it's not so much about the weight loss, it's about the stepping stones of how you progress forward. And I loved her approach. It was similar to mine, that this person decided that they were going to focus on their well-being. And as a byproduct of that, she lost all this weight. So when you endeavor to set out, okay, oh my God, I have to lose 100+ pounds, whatever it is that you want to lose, set yourself up for success. You can take that and kind of, tweak it to how it fits your lifestyle. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I know that a lot of people, especially like a lot of the commercials, lose your quarantine weight. I'm like, oh my God, like really? Like.
Well, it's kind of like the freshman 15, but I think the key piece also to Triumph Tuesday is not looking backwards, looking forward, going, regardless of what happened yesterday, don't let that derail where you're going today. And that in itself is a triumph, because how many of you, and I know you do this, I know I've done it, you beat yourself up over and over, and then in the way of beating yourself up, you use that psychology on your heart and your soul and your brain as an excuse to not either pick up the pieces and move forward, or just stay in that low. And that in itself is a triumph, to not look backwards. Do not think about everything that went wrong yesterday. Validate it, change the way that you have to go about it. Maybe you just have to go at it at a different approach. Maybe you have to, when you went all into whatever you were doing, your mindset wasn't right. Maybe you needed to kind of get into that calmergy, know that you were calm, but you had the energy to go forward, and you were going to do it in such a manner that was also peaceful to your heart and your soul your mind and how you feel. So don't get caught up in the yesterday's failures or the yesterday's I didn't do this right. I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it, because that will dampen your momentum to start today fresh. So every day is a new day to start fresh, to triumph over something new. And if it is as simple as letting go of the junk, letting go of the I didn't, I couldn't, I wouldn't, I shouldn't, that's a triumph. So pat yourself on the back. Say, you know what? I didn't let my mood get to me because I didn't complete what I was supposed to do yesterday. Today's a new day. I've got a new fresh, got a clean slate. I've got a new page on my entry of life, my journey. How am I going to write it out today? And is it going to be a bestseller? And that's really how you have to approach things. And I felt once I did that for myself and not get stuck on, I could have, did a, would have, should have. I already know what I have to do to change from how I did things from before. So I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm going to validate it and I'm going to move on. And two, I think too many of us get stuck that way. So get unstuck. Getting unstuck today is a triumph, and pat yourself on the back for it. Don't you think?
Yes, it is. So celebrate those goals, celebrate those milestones. There's different avenues to reach your goals, whether it's a vision board, whether it's journaling, whatever works for you. How about setting up your own little sticky, let me see if I can find them quickly. I have these, they're so cool, so I gotta show everybody. I have butterfly stickies.
Oh, how cute are those?
So yeah, so I'm going to set up my own little sticker board and put different messages or different words. And I've started using my, the write-on tape, and I have over here, and I wrote down, I don't think you can see it, but I wrote fearless. So one of my, and I'll go ahead and share this with you, one of my fears is going live on Facebook. Yet here I am, 150 episodes. There's still a little like, you know, nervousness, I guess.
And you know what? It is good. And I always tell that to people. If you don't have those butterflies in your stomach of maybe the topic that you're going to write, the topic that you're going to talk about, or did I do enough research to really project, you know, the information well enough to impact somebody else? Or it could be, you know what, today's a shitty day and I don't feel like doing a live today. But you know, we impact everybody every day unless something totally really derails us. We have that flexibility. Or interviewing a guest. We have some great guests that the banners will be going up today of this week's guest appearances, which we're super excited about. But those are the things that I think if you don't have those little butterflies, the little butterflies tells you that you care enough, that you're passionate about what you're doing. And if you lose the butterflies, you kind of lose that spirit of authenticity, I think, to a certain degree. You're like, oh, it's just doing this live, talking about the subject. If you're a little nervous about it and get those little butterflies in your belly, like the first time you've done it, that's a good thing. It means still means you're excited about what you're sharing. So I love that. I still get them all the time. And even when I flub up, a lot of people will chat about that, because a lot of people that are going into, say, an entrepreneurial business of some sort, which requires social media, for many, and going live for many. What if I make a mistake? What if I say the wrong name? What if I, just word something differently? What if, if you're doing it from your cell phone, what if the phone falls? I've had that happen. I've had the cell phone fall in the pool. I've had, the lighting kind of like hit me in the head. I've had, times where we got froze up and I'm continuing to talking like I haven't missed a beat, and all of a sudden the bandwidth comes on strong again. So these are all things that show the possibility that it doesn't matter, the flub ups. It really doesn't, because you're showing your human side of that. I crack up when you see the bloopers from national people speaking, and, you know, they've got the hair done, the makeup done, they're, you know, pristine, and they've got this, you know, beautiful background or whatever. They're all of a sudden, you know, now with this last year, a lot of them now had to take a huge pivot and maybe do a Zoom live interview that way. No clue. They didn't have the cameraman there. They were having bandwidth issues. And I was cracking up. I'm like, this is what everyday people go through, people. So I thought, and you could just see them all tense up. Don't be tense. You're not in control of the bandwidth. You're not in control. The person there that did your hair today, well, you're not in the studio no longer. Do something about it. You don't have your makeup person on. Say, hey, today I'm going all natural. So I think the emphasis really is just be yourself, regardless of the bumps, the roads. And when you are, and you get through that, you triumph over that and you give yourself a pat on the back. And that's what today is all about, is making sure that you embrace the blessings that you have, embrace your milestones, embrace what you've triumphed over. And that is such a key piece on how you're going to go out today and do some more triumphing, or set the goal, or set a new vision, or set a new milestone. So that's the whole point of the triumph. You want to always embrace where you came from, celebrate it, and still go forward.
And I love that. And, you know, typically when I go on live, or when we first started to go on live, I was like, oh my God, you know, my hair has to be a certain way, the makeup. And then I started not wearing makeup because of my eye issue. And then I'm constantly having bad hair days. So I'm like, this is me in a nutshell. You got to take it for what it's worth. And let me tell you, if the worst, very worst thing I have to complain about is a bad hair day, I think I'm doing pretty damn good.
That's right, you are. Well, we are so excited that we are celebrating this Triumph Tuesday. What are you going to triumph over? You may be triumph over something that's going on in our world right now. Embrace it, whatever it is, and know that you are in control of how, you're not in control of everything around you, but you control how you react and how you respond. That you can triumph over. With that, this is Carroll-Sue, AKA Naughty Boss, Lady Canada, live from Vero Beach. Got to set hubby up for his Zoom. He's got one coming up, and we want everyone to have a great, fantastic day. Today is the next probably couple days is going to be a little nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for many people. However, stay safe, stay blessed, stay postured in your beliefs, but always, always, always know that you're in control of how you react to something or someone or something that someone said to you. And you're also in charge of how you share the goodness of you. So do that today on this Triumph Tuesday. With that, I'm going to pass it over to
TwoSistas. Hey, and goodbye, everybody. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Excuse me, we have an amazing guest tomorrow. And my name is Janis, AKA Wellness Diva, also known as the Deadline Diva. And by the way, I love butterflies, and I do have a butterfly tattoo that has nothing to do about nothing. I haven't done a segment like that in a while. So on that note, goodbye, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow.